Thanks to Sakurako and Tokyo Treat for sponsoring this video. Love 'em or hate 'em, Final Smashes have become one of the most iconic parts of a character's moveset ever since their debut in Super Smash Bros. Brawl. I've got so many fond memories just wreaking havoc with the Landmaster, flying around shooting fireballs as Yoshi, or doing whatever this is, and that still holds true for the series' newest entry, Smash Ultimate. Right? Well, not really. While Final Smashes are still in the game, and we did get some downright awesome new additions this time around for the DLC fighters, like what is this? We still have some of the lame ones like Mario's Fireball, and all three of those memorable examples I gave, along with many others, are no longer in the game at all, with even more still appearing to be here, but acting significantly different than how they did in previous games, almost being indistinguishable attacks this time around. And why is that? Why did Nintendo go through so much trouble to change almost half the roster's Final Smashes? Did they all just suck? Can't be, right? They still left Puff Up in the game. You'd think with all the other things that they'd have to focus on during Smash Ultimate's development, from the stages, to the music, to the story, I guess, they'd relax on making so many entirely new Final Smashes and reworking ones which honestly didn't need it, with cutscenes as intricate as this, until you uncover the real reasons for all of this. Lying within here is a story more tragic than you may think. Time to grab the popcorn, a blanket, and maybe even some tissues too, as we examine the real reasons behind every rejected Final Smash. Not every rejected Final Smash has had a tragic backstory though. Some were just, well, weird. One of the most memorable Final Smashes of all time for me has got to be Luigi's Negative Zone. I don't know about for the best reasons, but still memorable nonetheless. This move was original to Super Smash Bros. Brawl, where he does a dance hurting opponents that get caught in the Negative Zone vortex. It seems like a really strange choice considering that of all characters, you'd think that Luigi would have some of the most options possible for an attack, taking inspiration from platforming Luigi, Mansion Luigi, Simping Luigi, okay, maybe not that many options. But despite all this, they really wanted this move in the set, leading to fans trying to craft some sort of canonical origin for it, because everything needs to have a complicated backstory in this game, right? Alright, so the theory goes that the name Negative Zone may be a reference to Luigi always being in his brother's shadow, even kind of being referenced in the move's trophy description. Hey, remember when we had those? Couldn't find those details next to the PNG images? Now, this makes some sense, since Luigi was originally just a palette swap of Mario for Player 2, but I think if it was an inspiration at all, it was pretty weak. It certainly looks cool having all the colors inverted and everything, but it makes a lot more sense to change it to an ability that he's known to use in his own series, which we finally received in Smash 4. Here he can use the Poltergust from Luigi's Mansion, definitely the most fitting move that they could have possibly given to Luigi. It's a cool attack where he sucks up opponents within its reach, and it even got changed to the new one from Luigi's Mansion 3 for Smash Ultimate. Safe to say we'll never see Luigi entering the Negative Zone again, and considering how good the replacement was, I certainly hope not. Another Mario character would get their Final Smash changed recently though, and it definitely wasn't as drastic. Rosalina, who we all love and totally agree deserved a spot in Smash way back in 2014, had a pretty basic Final Smash back in the 3DS and Wii U edition of the series. See, she's from Galaxy, right? You know what else is from Mario Galaxy? Power Stars, except when they're in Mario 64 over a decade prior, but that doesn't count, right? So since this character, who we decided needed to be in Nintendo's premier fighting franchise, doesn't have, well, really any moveset material of her own, let's just put this in here and have it shoot out smaller stars. If you didn't know this beforehand, you'd probably think I'd be making this up, right? I'd love to be a fly on the wall in some of these meetings. It was only natural that some would feel that this wasn't the best they could do for a Final Smash, even for this character. We could change it to the Black Holes from Galaxy, maybe get Lubba or one of the other Galaxy original characters in there, or we could just upgrade it from a Power Star to a Grand Star. Man, I think we give this company a little bit too much credit for effort sometimes, I don't know. Grand Stars are the special versions of Power Stars within Galaxy, so it was a natural upgrade to change it, even though it still sucks. And since the original had smaller stars shooting away from the large one, which wasn't too effective in battle, here they buffed the move by having the smaller stars shoot towards the Grand Star instead, this way giving an easier opportunity to trap opponents within it. I mean, the change was for the better, it's just kinda still a big star, right? Rosalina is not the only character to simply get a slight change to her final smash though. Ganondorf falls in a similar class. His final smash turns him into the iconic beast form of Ganon, charging at the opponent. This was only in Brawl and Smash 4 though. In Ultimate, his attack functions largely the same, but Ganon's appearance is based on the Ocarina of Time incarnation of the character, and was given another name, Ganon the Demon King. This one makes sense and all to get a more fitting reference for Ganondorf specifically, but I can't help but get the feeling that changes like these two were made just so Nintendo could come out and say, hey, we've got like 50 new Final Smashes in this game, the most new ever, while hiding slight changes like these in there. But Nintendo would never do something like this just for the sake of it, right? This is too close to conspiracy territory. Need I remind you that this is the same company that said the Wii U would have, quote, unprecedented third-party support before the console came out, only for it to flop, and then leave the people who did buy it after hearing that promise just go, huh. Yeah, there's really not that much here. Nintendo doesn't care about your feelings. But these Final Smashes aren't just being changed because of Nintendo's compulsion to lie to its fans though, as we're gonna get into some of the downright craziest and somewhat tragic real reasons for some changes later on. But Ganondorf wasn't the only Zelda character who got changed for unrelated reasons. Since in Brawl, Zelda and Sheik were still the same character, they were given the same Final Smash, being the light arrow. When used, either Zelda or Sheik will draw a large bow and shoot the arrow at any opponent who's in its way. Link was first able to wield the light arrows in Ocarina of Time, which is likely why they gave it to Sheik, since she was first introduced in there as well, whereas Zelda was first able to use them in Wind Waker. It was a decently fitting Final Smash, enough so that in Smash 4 when they got split up, the attack got carried over for both characters, yet in Smash Ultimate they still felt the need to change these attacks. For Zelda, they very fittingly changed it to the Triforce of Wisdom, which she uses in the final battle against Ganon in Ocarina of Time. Spoilers, in case you haven't played it yet. I know the last time I talked about this, there's a lot of people who had a fit over a 20-year-old game getting spoiled that, is so reliant on its story. In this battle, she traps Ganon in it so Link can deliver the final blow, a very fitting Final Smash for Zelda right now. For Sheik, she dashes forward and slices the opponent up with a dagger. When she catches anyone, the Sheikah eye symbol will appear on screen and the screen will darken before the attack. Now, while this move isn't directly from any particular Zelda game, the Sheikah eye symbol does represent the Sheikah clan, which Princess Zelda claims to belong to while in the Sheik persona. And Sheik using the daggers in this fast-paced style likely originates from Hyrule Warriors. But I feel they just wanted to change up both of their Final Smashes, because having two that are exactly the same kinda sucks, especially when very similar Final Smashes are used by other characters outside of Zelda and Sheik as well. So these changes were definitely for the better, but it wouldn't be right if Nintendo didn't complete the Triforce with changes to Link as well. Or should I say, the hottest Nintendo character.
Link is hot. Is Link hot to you?
Link is hot. I gotta say, Link is hot, but yeah.
God, I miss Reggie, man. Originally, Link had the same Final Smash as Toon Link, the one that young Link would receive in Ultimate as well. It's very simple, just having a Triforce symbol appear where opponents can get trapped in it and you slice them up. And well, that's it. It's not like this was seen frequently in the Zelda series either. It was just original to Smash. Pretty lame if you ask me. They replaced it with a pretty cool Breath of the Wild reference with the bow and arrow, although the attack is still pretty simple. I'll take anything to get rid of this trash though. Now all we need is something for Toon and Young Link, who they just kind of left as is. Pit is unique in that he actually has not only one, but two rejected Final Smashes. They can't seem to figure out what they want out of this character, huh? Guess it's kind of fitting since they had to completely change what kind of game Kid Icarus was with Uprising then. In his original Final Smash, Pit calls to the goddess Palutena for her army of Centurions that attack the opponent. This originated from the first Kid Icarus on the NES, where the Centurions are high-ranking soldiers of Palutena in the Angel Land who were turned to stone by Medusa's army. The inspiration kind of had to come from this game since it was the only one out at the time. Uprising hadn't released. A much more peaceful time for the Nintendo community, and because Uprising came out, his Final Smash got changed to the 3 Sacred Treasures in Smash 4. When used, Pit equips the wings of the Pegasus and fires off a ton of arrows of light at the opponents. The canon reason given for this is since Palutena became a fighter now with the increased popularity of the series, she canonically doesn't want to help Pit in battle. This is even confirmed in dialogue within Palutena's guidance, so it's really cool how they kept up this detail. Now only if that logic extended to some other franchise. But as I said, this wasn't the final change to Pit's Final Smash. It changed to the Lightning Chariot in Ultimate, another reference to Uprising. This one's pretty simple. Pit jumps aboard the Lightning Chariot and it flies off screen. And if you get caught in this, well, things aren't going to work out too well for you. But my personal theory surrounding the change here is that Sakurai is secretly trying to put more spotlight onto a character that he helped revive in Uprising by consistently changing up their movesets and giving the franchise 3 roster spots in Smash. I mean, it's not the most absurd amount ever, but Sonic's just sitting over there like, yeah, this is fine. Another character from a franchise with 3 reps that also had 3 final smashes over the years is King Dedede. Man, you gotta leave a like and sub for these transitions, I'm on point today. In Brawl, Dedede whistles and dances to summon a large crowd of Waddle Dees that run across the stage for 10 seconds, damaging anything in their way. Now this was an original move for Brawl with no real inspiration behind it, and it was likely there because he already had a Waddle Dee throwing attack at the time, so it was easier to develop as compared to creating something entirely new. Kind of in a similar vein to if Bowser Jr. had a bunch of Mecha Koopas raining down on the stage. But since the Waddle Dee special was cut from Dedede's main moveset in Smash 4, it made a lot more sense to change the final smash as well. Also, could you imagine if they tried to put this on the 3DS? Like, oh my, we'd have crashes everywhere. This move was changed to Dedede Burst. When activated, Dedede inhales his opponents before slamming them with 3 flaming hammer spins and then finishing the move by throwing a bomb at the victims. And while the move itself is a Smash original, the bomb that Dedede throws at the end of it does closely resemble the bomber enemy from the series, so there is a slight reference in there. But to Sakurai, the Kirby series creator, this wasn't enough. For Mario, the most iconic video game character of all time, his final smash, that doesn't need to change, but my character? Oh, well now we've got some standards. In Ultimate, we got Ddd Rush, where the powerful hit with the hammer turns into a cutscene involving Masked Dedede, his upgraded form from Kirby Superstar Ultra. The caged ring that he puts his opponents in kinda reminds me of the cage of wait, wrong franchise. God, I can't keep referencing this. I might have to rethink my whole channel. What the ring is actually reminiscent of is the arena in which Kirby fights Masked Dedede, and the new hammer that fires missiles is also used within this boss fight. This is my personal favorite of his final smashes, even though I know the other ones do have their supporters. Yeah, they're somewhere, I'm sure. Another Kirby rep will get a change with his final smash in Ultimate, this being Meta Knight. But it's not too different as compared to Dedede. The original, called Galaxia Darkness, had the screen going black followed up with a powerful slash attack, whereas the new one begins with the slash, trapping the opponent in a vulnerable position where they're hit with a barrage of strikes. The original actually got the name Galaxia from the name of Meta Knight's sword in the anime Kirby Right Back At Ya. And yes, this was an actual thing. See, the anime references are making more sense now. This move will get referenced in-game after Brawl had released, but considering it was a Smash original, it made some sense to change the attack. The new attack, Darkness Illusion, is used in Star Allies, so it's nice to get a modern reference in there. But without a doubt, the most memorable rejected final smash from the Kirby series to me has got to come from Kirby himself. Back in Brawl, we had Cooking Kirby as a final smash, this move being based on the cooking ability from Superstar and Kirby the Amazing Mirror. He'll don a chef hat and grab a frying pan, putting nearly everything in the limited radius in the cauldron to stew. After a short period of time, all the characters and even items that are sucked in will be shot back out, with the attack dealing some damage but not a lot. But instead of buffing the move, they completely replaced it with the Ultra Sword in Smash 4. It's simpler and something you'd expect to see Kirby use more often, originating as a super ability in Kirby's Return to Dreamland. I've seen many support the change, while others feel it's a lot more generic compared to the original, which was much more unique. And I'd have to agree on that, like literally every character has a sword final smash nowadays. Did Kirby really need one too? But even though it's interesting to look at some of the final smashes that got changed for Nintendo simply wanting a more interesting or fitting attack in their minds, what I think is much more fascinating are the final smashes that got carried over with the exact same inspiration, just with a different attack in its place. And the real reasons for why they made these changes will tell us a lot about a big design philosophy change Nintendo made for Smash Ultimate as a whole, and how it relates to the sad reality of all of this. But first of all, I gotta get this off my chest. Seeing all that cooking with Kirby made me hungry, I can't even lie. It would be nice if we had something— oh. Well, what do we have here? Tokyo Treat and Sakura Co. recognized my clear love for Japanese games and snacks too, so they sent me a couple of their new boxes to try, and I put them to the test. For Tokyo Treat, I got 20 of the latest, most exclusive, limited edition, and seasonal flavored Japanese snacks that are only available in Japan for a limited time. Each month, their box has a unique theme, and for April, I got Sakura Picnic. They have exclusive and seasonal Japanese snacks this month, such as Pineapple Sakura Candy, Strawberry and Red Bean Loaf, and Banana Caramel Kit Kat, one of my personal faves. The Pineapple Sakura Candy and the Loaf are exclusively made for Tokyo Treat subscribers, and I honestly really enjoyed this one. With the Sakura Co. box, I got 20 traditional and authentic artisan Japanese snack items, including Japanese teas. You get one special Japanese tableware with your box every month too, which is really cool. Now, if you're skeptical about how authentic this all is, I gotta let you know that Sakura Co. helps in partnering with local Japanese snack makers to continue sharing Japanese culture and traditions that have been passed down for over 100 years. This stuff is the real deal. Their theme for this month was matcha and mochi. We have Sakura Sencha tea exclusively made for Sakura Co. and a lot of matcha themed snacks. And for May, man, you know they got some of that good stuff. I love the matcha wafer and can't get enough of the Hojicha chocolate crunchies. Look, you're probably a Nintendo fan watching this video. You probably want to experience some authentic Japanese treats, and I don't blame you. But as always, I got the hookup. By using the code Siiroth, you could get $5 off your first Sakurako or Tokyo Treat box using my links in the description below. Choose your side, pick what fits you, or pick both. That's what I do. Make sure you get your order in by May 30th to ensure you do not miss this box. Now, during my truly immaculate recap of some of Smash Bros.' most notable Final Smash rejections, I neglected to mention some which are actually still technically in the game, just with a twist. Little Mac's Final Smash, where he turns into Giga Mac, which is probably the most fitting Final Smash he could get, originating from the 2-player mode in Punch-Out Wii, where you can turn into this form after hitting your opponent enough times. It is still in Smash Ultimate, but in Smash 4 there's one key difference. You can control it. In Ultimate, the move will go off automatically once you use it. It's called Giga Mac Rush now, and it's still a powerful attack. You rush into your opponent delivering a ton of blows to them, but you do not have the freedom that you did in Smash 4. Same thing happened to Mr. Game & Watch with his Octopus Final Smash. Octopus originates from the Game & Watch title, well, Octopus. In the game, a giant octopus guards a sunken pirate ship and snatches up anybody who's in its way. The Final Smash acts very similarly to it, although now it's no longer fully controllable as it was in previous games. It's only vertically controllable now. Pac-Man has one of the most iconic Final Smashes ever. You turn retro, and in Smash 4 you can move around the screen eating your opponents like they're power pellets in the original Pac-Man. But in Ultimate, you only have slight control of him as he automatically moves forward now. Pikachu and Pichu both use Volt Tackle as their Final Smash, but it's uncontrollable in Smash Ultimate. The decision to make Wario Man for his Final Smash was a great one. This form appears in so many different games throughout the series, but now you can no longer play as him, and it's just changed to a cutscene. Sonic naturally changes into Super Sonic, but you can no longer control as him and just go zoom 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 around the screen. No, it does it for you. Many are wondering why control was taken out of the player's hands in this way so many times. Does everything just have to be done for you in games nowadays? You know, back in my day, we didn't have to do that. We didn't play Pokemon with checkpoints. But the real reason that Nintendo gave for cutting Transformation Final Smashes in the place of cutscene ones is because for Ultimate, they wanted quick Final Smashes that wouldn't disrupt the game flow. Which is pretty interesting, because it's not like Final Smashes were the most competitive game mechanic or anything like that. Them disrupting game flow in a casual multiplayer match isn't really that big of a deal, and in some cases it kinda helps make the experience more fun. There are two main camps within the community surrounding this issue. There are those who don't like Transformation Final Smashes. They did go on for a while. Some described it as playing a game of tag where you're trying to catch other opponents in the game, they're just trying to run away from you, and it's much more streamlined to have every Final Smash either be just a cutscene or a quick attack. But the counter-argument to this is that transformations did allow for more uniqueness and freedom in the gameplay. You feel more involved, which when playing a video game, I mean, you probably want to be involved, right? Unless you're playing a A-mashing simulator. And the argument that this was done to not interrupt the flow of gameplay as much kinda doesn't hold up when you realize that a cutscene interrupts gameplay, maybe even more so. There's no gameplay involved at all. We're not even talking competitive anyway, and even outside of competitive, many players don't even utilize the feature as part of their core Smash experience, so balancing it doesn't really matter. Or does it? As we'll see coming up, it seems like Sakurai internally may have wanted all that I just said to completely change this time around. But before we get into the real story surrounding that, I've gotta say that those changes to Transformation Final Smashes aren't even some of the most interesting examples to me. Giga Bowser is an original character to Smash that's appeared in the series since Melee, being playable as a Final Smash beginning in Brawl. Now you may be thinking, why did they bother making a whole new form of Bowser like this? Couldn't they have used something much simpler or already seen within the series? Well, you see, that would make sense, but for longtime fans of the Smash series, you may be familiar with Sakurai's personal beef with Bowser, and if not, well, this could probably make a whole video on its own. But have you ever noticed how Bowser's persona in Smash is quite different than how it is in the vast majority of games in the Mario series? Like in most games, yeah, Bowser's trying to present himself as an intimidating threat and all that, but there's always that glimpse of a goofier and more innocent side of his personality. But that's not the case in Smash. He's always angry and making generic growling sounds during gameplay. And this is no accident, as Sakurai has gone on record multiple times saying that he believes Bowser should be presented in that vein, that he is better in that role. Now, I love Sakurai, he's been the mastermind behind one of my favorite Nintendo series, but the idea that he knows better than the people behind the Mario series for what makes Bowser work as a character is pretty ridiculous. Despite this, Sakurai has made this his hill to die on. for some reason. So we got Giga Bowser as sort of Sakurai's true vision of the character. Now he's cool and all, especially when playing as him just clicking buttons and knocking out the opponent, but in Ultimate he had to undergo one critical change. Like many others, Giga Bowser is no longer playable in the regular form, but for this guy in particular, of course Sakurai had to give him some special treatment. We couldn't just get a cutscene Final Smash or a quick attack like most others, no. We need to see Sakurai's vision for gaming's biggest villain highlighted in some way, so you do get some control of this new attack. Giga Bowser appears even larger this time behind the stage, and you can launch a powerful punch towards an area of your choice. I really like the reference to the final battle of Yoshi's Island with Bowser in this spot, and I guess New Super Mario Bros. 2 if you care about that game. But I still find it funny that even though this form of Bowser has never been carried over into a main series game, like ever, it still remains positioned as one of the most interesting and iconic Final Smashes ever. And my personal theory is it's still all over Sakurai's secret hatred of how Bowser is portrayed. Another Mario character who got a Final Smash change in Ultimate is Diddy Kong. I guess he's not really a Mario character, huh? Guess my transitions are slipping. His original Final Smash was called Rocket Barrel Barrage, where he's able to fly around with his rocket barrel pack shooting powerful shots from his peanut pop guns. You had full control of the character originally though, so this meant it had to change. The new version it was changed to is called the Hyper Rocket Barrel, where Diddy activates a silver updated version of his rocket barrel pack, multiplies himself, and dashes across the screen in multiple directions. Kinda like Sonic. This whole Final Smash has taken inspiration from the rocket barrel jetpack power-up in Donkey Kong 64, where Diddy could use the jetpack to fly around in mid-air. Again, it was just altered to simplify and quicken the move. Lucario underwent a similar change in Smash 4 as it relates to his Mega form. During this state, Mega Lucario's aura attacks are almost twice as powerful, and he only takes half damage from attacks as well. It's a pretty powerful form, but again, it was fully controllable and that had to change. It's kind of a good thing though that before Smash 4, Lucario had a different Final Smash, since back when Brawl was out, Mega Evolutions didn't exist in the Pokemon series. I mean, they kinda don't exist now either, but that's besides the point. In the original Final Smash, Lucario would fire off this mega powerful blast of aura at the opponent, and kind of a compromise was made in Ultimate by going back to Aura Storm, but Lucario still Mega evolves, which is nice to see. Actually, one of the good instances of Nintendo changing it up. Lucario isn't the only Mega Pokemon in Smash Ultimate though, far from it. While Mewtwo's Final Smash got to remain the same because it's just a simple attack with Side Strike, Mega Charizard X is no longer present in the game. I mean, outside of his spirit, which is totally the best integration of a character you can have. But the story behind this is that back in Smash 4, we didn't have the standard Pokemon trainer as we did in Brawl or see today. Due to technical limitations with the 3DS version of the game, they had to remove the swapping mechanic of going from one character to another. And if they could only keep one of the three Pokemon, of course Charizard's gonna be the one who gets that preferential treatment. And since the triple finish Final Smash from the original character featured all three Pokemon attacking the opponent at the same time, that obviously couldn't be used anymore. Something new was needed, and with Pokemon X and Y being the newest entries in the series releasing at the time, which featured two Mega Charizard forms, one was bound to be used, and Mega Charizard X was the choice. This allowed you to transform into him and fly around attacking the opponents with either Dragon Rush or launching Fire Blasts. This was definitely a great replacement, even though I generally don't like Mega Charizard X as a Pokemon very much. Its design takes away of the uniqueness of Shiny Charizard's coloration to me, but aside from my personal pet peeve with the form itself, it was a fitting attack, until Ultimate saw the return of Squirtle and Ivysaur, and subsequently the triple finish Final Smash, in which Mega Charizard X does not return. I agree that it wouldn't make much sense for one of these three to just randomly Mega here, so I don't miss the reversion to the original Final Smash. And unless Megas get brought back in a new Pokemon game or something like that, I highly doubt we see Mega Charizard X return to Smash in this vein ever again. By now, we've seen many Final Smashes which involve you turning into an upgraded form of the character and wreaking havoc on your opponents, which they felt the need to simplify. But what about some attacks that were really unique that don't fall into this category per se, but they still felt the need to simplify as well? Enter Donkey Kong's Conga Beat. Oh yeah, DK gets his bongos out and starts playing them, originating from DK64 and playing more of a role in Donkey Konga for the GameCube. And man, if you get hit by this, it's not going to be a fun time. I've always loved using this move, and you could actually increase the drum's power by timing button presses to the beat of the music in the background. But this seemed to be too unique, and for Ultimate, they changed his Final Smash to be based on one of his jungle beat attacks where he rapidly punches the opponent, completely removing the uniqueness that the original brought. Now I gotta be honest here, while I don't think either move perfectly represents DK or anything like that, I am in the crowd that prefers the original purely because of the rhythm gameplay being a fun change of pace. Although I can totally see people pointing out flaws about it, like if you're playing the game in a crowded setting and have to play muted or simply can't time the beat, you're at an incredible disadvantage. But I can't seem to get behind this generic generic barrage of punches being its replacement. I've offered some other ideas in previous videos, like the Moon Punch from Tropical Freeze as a cutscene final smash, but for a character as iconic as Donkey Kong, I feel he deserves much better. Kinda like some other iconic character. But wait a second, what's that sound?
Landmaster!
Oh yeah. The Smash Bros. Crew of Star Fox characters collectively has got to have one of the most iconic final smashes of all time. For those of you who don't know, Landmaster dropped in a tank on the battlefield, allowing you to move it around a bit and shoot the opponents with it. It was a really ambitious attack, but it was kind of clunky to maneuver and definitely stalled the pace of the game if you're using that argument, since this thing was basically your new terrain to play around. For Ultimate, instead of using this transformation attack, they changed it into a cutscene for all 3 characters. And for as well as these cutscenes turned out, I still can't get the nostalgia out of my mind about the Landmaster. Like, what a memorable move. The Landmaster also had the issue of not really referencing a majority of games in the franchise very accurately. Riding on a tank on land definitely isn't what people immediately think of when playing a Star Fox game, although I'm sure for the sake of the franchise, I'm sure fans wouldn't mind people at least thinking of something about it. Man, what a sad state this is in. I feel for you, Star Fox fans. In contrast to this though, a character who doesn't get talked about much at all in terms of his Final Smash history is Rob the Robot, despite him having 3 different Final Smashes over the years. And I think the reasons for this are, number 1, no one really actually caring about Rob as a character, but number 2, it's not like the changes were that drastic. Back in Brawl, Rob used an attack called Diffusion Beam, where he gains invincibility and shooting medium-ranged whirling lasers out of his eyes. This got changed in Smash 4 though, to the Super Diffusion Beam. Oh my, with a name like that, you know it's gotta be better. When activated, Rob transforms into a laser cannon and fires an intense beam of energy at the opponent. Like Samus's Final Smash, you do have the ability to angle the beam slightly vertically if you want. It's a much more generic type of attack though, but considering that neither have had much material for a deep origin, from Nintendo's perspective, they probably just wanted to give the move a buff. This was not the reasoning behind the change for Smash Ultimate though. This time we got an attack called the Guided Robo Beam. Rob once again transforms into a laser cannon and this time fires off a series of small lasers that hone in on opponents that are close enough to him, all ending with a powerful blast, and this is a pretty cool final smash to me. It keeps the theme of simplicity that they're going for here, but in contrast to Smash 4, this one makes it a little bit more unique than someone like Samus. I wonder how Metroid fans feel about Rob getting a more unique final smash of all characters, whereas Samus has just been stuck with the same lame one for years. Hey, you never know, with the Metroid series kind of picking up in popularity nowadays, maybe in the next entry we got hope for something more interesting. At this rate, the next Smash is probably going to come out before Metroid Prime 4. Now Snake, without a doubt, had one of the coolest final smashes in Brawl. This guy gets behind the screen and essentially just starts shooting missiles at the fighters on stage. You've got full control and can aim at the target of your choice. A great idea with a great inspiration from shooting grenades in the Metal Gear games. But for Ultimate, they just had to go and mess with it. The player can guide this crosshair to lock onto opponents, and after a brief moment, missiles will launch from the foreground and attack the targeted players. This is similar, but not quite as good as to what he had in Brawl in my opinion. I like the freedom to shoot one at a time there, but at least they kept the crosshair in, kinda like Bowser's Punch. They likely changed the attack to make it quicker to execute, but I also believe part of the reason has to be because of the visible gun on screen. Like, in a teen-rated game in Brawl, it got a pass, but probably not here. Oh, but it's okay for Inkling to use a gun, but not Snake. What's this favoritism? Now, when I say the character is Zero Suit Samus, you're probably thinking to yourself, man, I don't care. Unless you're an artist. But Zero Suit actually is one of the most interesting Final Smash histories in my opinion, since if you didn't play Brawl, most would likely assume that she had the same Final Smash as Samus since they were incorporated into the same character slot. Zero Suit was only accessible after Samus had used the large beam to shoot for her Final Smash. But have you ever thought about how you turn back to regular Samus? Yeah, it's kind of an obscure predicament that you'd only really get into if you're playing like a 99 stock game or something like that, but Zero Suit's Final Smash is actually different, with her radiating energy, dragging in items and enemies towards her while damaging anyone close enough, then regaining her Varia suit and transforming back into regular Samus. After the characters were split up in Smash 4 though, this obviously couldn't be carried over. While standard Samus's Final Smash remained mostly the same, just without the ability to transform into Zero Suit, hers instead would be completely changed. In Smash 4, she got the gunship, and she'll hop in there firing several energy beam shots at the opponents, very similar to how Snake's grenade launcher worked in Brawl. And actually, in an eerily similar move to what they did with Snake's Final Smash, Zero Suit adopts the Zero Laser as her new Final Smash in Ultimate by temporarily transforming into Suited Samus. This one's pretty interesting as it's almost directly a hybrid between the two Final Smashes that she originally had, which I think is a nice compromise if they absolutely had to change it. It references both Samus' Samus's use of the Hyper Beam in Super Metroid to defeat the Mother Brain, and the gunship, which has been a staple in the series since Metroid 2. But again, I can't help but think about the striking similarities between the changes made for Zero's suit and that of Snake. Guess it makes sense to find out that these weren't the only similar changes that these two characters would undergo in Ultimate. Yeah. But enough about Zero Suit Samus. For most people, when you think of Smash Brothers, one of the characters that'll pop into your mind, for better or worse, is Yoshi. And his Final Smash history is actually pretty interesting. In Brawl and Smash 4, he'll grow wings and take off. You're able to fly around as him and shoot fireballs, blasting the opponents. Being based on his appearance in Super Mario World, where different abilities are gained based on the type of Koopa shell that you have in your mouth. But since this was freely controllable, Nintendo either had to come up with an entirely new Final Smash idea to go along with the same philosophy as almost every other change in Ultimate, or change it to a cutscene. But with this one in particular, I'd say it would be pretty tough to do just a simple attack. It just wouldn't feel right. This led to them scrapping the concept entirely and going with the Stampede Final Smash, where a ton of Yoshis will trample over the opponent in a cutscene. This is definitely a cool attack to see executed, but its origins are kinda interesting. This can kinda be thought as a Smash original move, believe it or not, since this exact scene was depicted in Melee's opening movie nearly 20 years prior. Now, even though I think the new change is kind of a cool callback, I still much prefer the original. A compromise could simply be made by incorporating Yoshi's more interesting abilities like the flight and fire into his main moveset, but since Nintendo doesn't seem to want to bother altering any of the OG characters, I highly doubt that happens. With all of this known though, we can infer one thing above all. With the confirmation that the majority of Final Smashes were changed to be faster and not interrupt gameplay as much, it seems like they were trying to be phased into more players' gameplay sessions. Smash was always intended to be a party game and not a fighting game. A statement that some, let's call them fans in the community, seem to take really personally. And Sakurai's expressed his disappointment many times over the years with how many in the community immediately turn off the majority of the game's features, including Final Smashes. Having Final Smashes that don't disrupt gameplay as much and are generally more streamlined in Nintendo's minds would help them get further accepted into casual play, but what about the hardcore competitive community? When the Final Smash meter was first revealed for Smash Ultimate, there was a lot of debate sparking up throughout the competitive side of the community. There were many wondering if this could lead to Final Smashes being accepted into competitive play, since this feature in essence allowed you to earn the use of your Final Smash by building up your meter throughout the match, rather than just getting lucky by cracking the Smash Ball open when it randomly appears for you at the right time. But in contrast to some who were open to the idea, there were many others who were strongly opposed to this. A bunch of people in the hardcore community were shooting this concept down well before the feature even came out, despite all the streamlining of Final Smashes that we had seen up until that point. It was difficult for many to form an opinion on this issue though, since we simply couldn't get our hands on the feature until the game released. But at the time, the reception to the idea was mostly negative, leading to Sakurai having to issue a pretty sad response. Sakurai is quoted as responding to a question about the feature, saying that the Final Smash meter is better suited for casual party play over serious competitive play. Things would get pretty hectic with it, he said, which I believe is him, in effect, giving up on the hope of pleasing everyone with this feature. Final Smashes would still be broken in the minds of the competitive scene. Like Pokemon singles players in Gen 8 not wanting a Mon's Dynamax form to be influencing your team choices, choosing a character for having a really good Final Smash was seen as uncompetitive in the minds of many throughout the competitive community. Sakurai really pushed Final Smashes in this game, not just with the introduction of the meter, but also its inclusion in World of Light. He wanted as many people to use his creations as possible, maybe even originally intending for it to be competitive after the reduction in power that a lot of them would end up getting, along with the faster pace of Final Smashes being intended on their end to not interrupt gameplay as much. But if that goal existed at all, it was without a doubt given up on at some point. Whether the initial negativity from some parts of the community was responsible for this statement by Sakurai or not, I'll leave that up to you. But without a doubt, the overhaul to this feature was in the hopes to reintegrate it into more players' experiences after years and years of disappointment about it not being the case. Even still though, I don't know after all of this if these changes really made a difference. Were the people now playing with Final Smash meter really never using the Smash Ball before? It's obviously difficult to say for sure, but the tragic part of this to me is that all of this effort may not have even helped Sakurai achieve his goal. But to truly understand his personal attachment to these over-the-top attacks, we can't just look at interviews about his disappointment or changes made to the series' newest entry. All of that could be blown out of proportion by fans and the media alike. Where we can truly confirm all of this lies all the way back in the first instance of Final Smashes getting rejected, this being from Smash 64. Yep, Final Smashes were intended to be in the first Super Smash Bros. Game, and they even had voice lines recorded to be used in the attacks. Could you imagine what these moves would have been like way back in the day? They likely would have been a bit simpler, obviously without the over-the-top cutscenes, but that in itself would have a major influence on the future because as we've gone over today, many characters have gotten their same Final Smash carried over throughout the years. In every single entry, Marth has the critical hit, Samus has the beam, Dr. Mario has the pills. So if we got Final Smashes included in the original entry, we'd potentially have some even more simple Final Smashes than we already have included to this day. But like many cut features, this had to be taken out, almost certainly because of limits on the Nintendo 64's hardware. Final Smashes weren't just a flashy new addition to the third entry in a massive Nintendo franchise to Sakurai. It was meant to be as integral as the original 12, Master Hand, the platform-based fighting gameplay, all of it. And while I enjoy dabbling in Final Smashes every now and then, the reality is, it's likely not as key to Smash as they originally wanted. We'll always have the memories of cooking opponents with Kirby, having a fully controllable OG Pac-Man, and of course Negative Zone, but if Smash Ultimate fails to be Sakurai's final foray into this fabled franchise, I wouldn't expect a return of these rejected attacks, but instead even further efforts to make Final Smashes as seamless as everything else. I'll see you next time, and if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe.